All right, guys. As I put in the description, I am open to Q&A if you guys tuning in want to ask any questions. But really, I just wanted to cover some of the growth and stuff. We have a slightly overcast day, so I'm just kind of taking advantage of it, and thought I'd do a live stream. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and kick it off. Really, I just wanted to show you guys some of the stuff that's bounced back from, I know I talk about the harsh winter we had on my channel a lot, but it's made a big impact, and it's kind of made things evolve a little differently around here. But we'll go ahead and kick it off in the front yard. Let me come on, zoom out a little bit here for you guys. Yeah, it's not quite a food forest, but it's a little more crowded than it's been after that frost hit. I kind of came back with vengeance. You'll see that thematically kind of around the forest. But here I've got some radishes that are kind of overdue. This Tangelo, I dug it out right before the freeze, and then I put it back in. We've been getting a ton of rain, so I think that's why some of this new foliage looks a little light. It's probably getting a little diluted. I need to give it some fertilizer. I've got some strawberries in the bed. I did some different kind of actually blackberries. They have thorns. I've always done thornless before this, but since they're kind of tucked out of the way there, I thought I'd give that a whirl. Try something different. Some beauty berries I got from my buddy Mickey from Inwood Eden. He gave me some cuttings. We're slowly getting some fruits on there. And yeah, the Namwas came back. So hopefully I might actually get some racks this summer, maybe by the end of summer, maybe into fall. Hopefully before winter again, because that really slows things down. I've got my Turk's Cap hibiscus came back from the dead. Still have some kales hanging on here. Not really banking on those. It's been pretty hot. Elderberry, I'm letting my elderberry kind of go nuts until I harvest the berries, and I have some honey that'll go nicely with preserving that. I'll make some syrups, as well as just probably eat some raw. And I have a satsuma kind of tucked away, still getting a lot of nice growth, but I'm letting this basil kind of go nuts, and the elderberries to kind of give it some partial shade for the summer here. And I have some strawberries in there. Keep the background music going. Again, guys, if you have any questions or anything, hey, what's up, Steffi Joe? Yeah, if you guys have questions, I'll try to be tentative and answer those. The trellis has some grapes on there. Grapes didn't do too well this year. We had fruit set. I don't know if it was just the birds eating everything too early, but I think they were having a hard time recouping this year. But we're getting a lot of growth and vigor. They're doing well. My pomegranate had a lot of, it came back, but it had a lot of kind of dead spots and stuff, so I hacked it way down, but it's coming back. I have a video on reviving pomegranates. If it wasn't so gnarly at the root there, I would have hacked it all the way down to the ground, but pomegranates are really tough wood, so I just kind of hacked off whatever was dead. Everything coming back looks pretty good. But for a while up here, some of the growth looked really bad, and so I chopped it to about anywhere where I could see bark damage. Some self-seeded Malabar spinach looks really awesome. That'll trellis up. Some roses in there too. This is new. This was an Amla, or Indian gooseberry, and I got that as a tiny little seedling, and had it in a pot for a while and decided to put it in now. It's doing really great, taking off. Some more beauty berry back there. This was where my multi-grafted mulberry was, and unfortunately the rootstock completely died. I did a video where I regrafted the top portion down to the rootstock, Unfortunately, the rootstock was deceptive and completely died out. Probably frost damage, and then after that, when these things get bad frost damage, they're susceptible. Something got it, and to be honest, it's been a pain in my butt since the start. So I replaced it with a loquat seedling that my daughter and I planted. I did a video back on that a while back. And we have some Okinawan spinach there. I'm probably going to replace this with another lemon seedling. It's just not good genetics. So some of these things from seed, I mean, it did come back from 13-degree hard freeze, but I'm probably gonna leave it alone and plant something next to it and see how that does. But I do have some other lemon seedlings from a native tree that did really well. Some Meyer lemon seedlings. And my quince has some fruit set. I guess this is more ornamental, but it's not worth much. But the flowers are really gorgeous. White Russian mulberry took off like crazy. It's doing really well. That's another reason why I didn't need this mulberry. Too much competition because mulberries get really big and stuff. But I do like this living fence kind of thing I have here. The other good thing about the loquat is it's not deciduous, it's evergreen, so it'll provide a little privacy from the streets throughout the winter too. And some mints growing in here. Moringa came back. I did wrap the trunks, but pretty much came back from the root. I'm going to top these fairly soon here. They're about 8 or 9 feet. Top them off, make them nice and bushy. I had a bush cherry here. It looks like it's dead. One good way to tell if things are dead or alive after a while, and it does take a lot of patience. If you try rocking it, it'll rock right out if it's dead. So the roots are still good, and they're creating lots of runners. We actually have fruit set over there. And so yeah, there's runners all over here. So it's actually gonna just bush out a lot more. And so that's good for this whole hedge thing I have going on here. Another moringa. You guys can see it came back from the roots. All this damaged stuff will eventually, things will eat at it, and but everything looks good here. I plan on topping those too. This is another, actually that was the Barbados over there. This is the bush cherry, sorry. And it had some questionable spots, kind of like this one I'll have to trim off, but it's doing pretty well. Cassava, I just left this here. Actually, if you guys have seen some recent videos, I get into fungi and different mycelium. So I've been experimenting with like leaving things to rot and seeing what grows there, which is kind of cool, but it's also kind of acting as a stake. So I figured I'd leave it. Wolfberries or goji berries. I should have manually dried these out with my dehydrator, but we did get fruit set, and it's kind of done for now. My cinnamon tree, still waiting for something to come back. Again, if I mess with the roots, they're not rotted. The roots are still intact, they're still good. I've done some scratch tests where there's still some life in there. So I'm just patiently waiting on that. Some falsa came back from the roots, as always. One of my prickly pear, it was really spiny, and it died to the ground. Although I did have some pads restart, and I relocated those and I replaced it with a spineless prickly pear, which, yeah, there's no spines, it's just kind of bumpy. And hazelnut here. We'll make our way around. Okay, I have a mandarin that suffered a little bit of damage, but it's coming back pretty well. I need to chop back some more of this taro. Yeah, this is the edible taro. It's not elephant ear. It doesn't run, it just clumps. But yeah, I did actually already thin that out. It's come back pretty hard. But I do need to give that Mandarin more space to breathe. Let's see what else I have. I threw a lot of stuff in here after the freeze. I love okra, but I threw a lot of okra in here. Asparagus, I've been alternating between letting it grow so it gets some root vigor and also harvesting some. Milkweed spraying back nicely. As you can see, there's a monarch on there, which is a good reason why I have that around. That and pollinators. And you guys will have to bear with me. We're getting some drizzle, but I'll keep up as long as I can recording this. Let's see. Lots of strawberries in this bed. They've been spreading like crazy. I planted them really early, so the summer didn't phase them as much. We've got some katuk. Actually, one of my katuk broke off, and so these are recent transplants that are doing pretty good. I'm surprised they haven't defoliated as compared to, this one's more established. This is my multi-grafted stone fruit. I think it's the nectarine. Yeah, nectarine and the red baron are a little bit questionable, but I'm actually getting some growth here. I might spray it with some copper. Yeah, I'm getting really healthy growth. I'll probably, now that I'm getting more healthy foliage, I'll probably defoliate all this other stuff and see how it does. So that could have been a little bit of a hit from the cold weather too. I did lose one of my grafts, but everything else looks nice and healthy. I actually did a summer prune on this and trimmed it way back because things were just getting way out of hand. So we have some water shoots up there, but we're getting relatively healthy growth. We should get some lateral branching for future fruit. Yeah, so the taro going kind of nuts over here too. I may have to harvest some of that. Some blackberries tucked away in there. One of my hibiscus died, but I did clone it and overwintered the clone just in time to put it back in. Some bamboo. This area is kind of a mess. I did do a mango graft last year, and I overwintered that, and it's doing quite well. And ice plant, just have some different, this is like my little mini nursery. Later I'll show you some avocados I replaced these with, but these are avocados that died to the rootstocks, but their rootstocks are really vigorous. So I'm hanging on to those to either eventually let fruit or graft different varieties on them. And extended nursery, yeah, excuse the mess guys. But avocado seedling, some dragon fruit, and I do have dragon fruit over here that I overwintered the cuttings before the frost, and they were growing back. I think they're getting a little bit of rot from too much moisture from all this precipitation. The forecast has been like non-stop rain. Some nursery stuff, different seedlings up here. All right, now we'll make our way towards the back real quick. This is where the grapevine on the carport originates from, which did take a little hit. It died on the far end, and I've since grafted something on there, but everything else is coming back nice and healthy. I do have a little kiwi vine here, which is pretty cool. I had several anticipating male and female, but only one survived, and I'm just kind of going with it. Later, I'll probably try to make some more so that I can get pollination eventually. But yeah, we're making our way to the back now. It's actually, I had 3 different hardy kiwis too that I wanted to trellis up my viola, but yeah, 2 of them died out and there's 1 left. So same principle, I'll probably see what I can replace there. Bamboo is coming back real hardy. This is kind of the hedge theory again. Wanted a little privacy from the neighbors. Firebush came back from the dead. I was worried that my Mexican sunflower wouldn't. Only one of them came back. And so, you know, you can take cuttings of these and repropagate them. And I've been doing that. Let's see. Tamarind, I replanted a seedling. I overwintered. This one has yet to come back. Let's do the rock test. And yeah, that might not come back. That's questionable. But I have backup, so I'm not worried about it. A couple of mulberries I pretty much established here as shade plants for things like the tamarind seedling. And we have a nice pawpaw here that is, it was looking a lot better, but I think this moisture is starting to get to it. I just put some acidifier in the soil literally last night, so that should help out with things. But yeah, things are just getting a little too much moisture, even though I do have everything slightly raised. Because of that, we live in Houston, so I kind of have, maybe I should dig out the trenches a little more. But yeah, we're getting a lot of moisture, which is why this mulberry's not loving things. There was some yellowing, and it since dropped those leaves, but yeah. And I did get a lot of fruit off this everbearing this year. Let's see what else. I have an avocado seedling that made it through 13 degrees in the ground, and it's coming back really nicely. Also a jackfruit that came back, which I don't remember planting it that close, so that could have been an accidental, happy accident. I may have to relocate that. That's a little too close. I like things tucked away, but not that tucked away. Here's another jackfruit. I guess I did have the mulberries for, you know, jackfruits and stuff need some shade when they're getting established. Some remnants of cherry tomatoes. I had a good crop of that. Moringa. I don't think it's coming from that root, but I do have some moringa. And I got this yesterday. It's a Brazilian cherry or Suriname cherry, and I'm gonna put that in this gap over here. I forget what I had growing here, but it's definitely rotted out, so I was gonna replace that. This is another pawpaw here. Got some katuk here, but I did just, this is one of the Mexican sunflower transplants I'm talking about. So we can get some canopy. This could use a little shade, that's why it's looking weak. I did give it some soil acidifier too, but that moisture, I don't think they like their feet that wet. Nothing around here does. I did a lot of sunflowers that I've been recently harvesting. Actually grilled one of the heads. I'm gonna save these seeds because this one is a nice mammoth for comparison. Nice big sunflower. Those are good for feeding some of the animals too, and the poor goats and chickens. This is slightly raised in here too. Usually I've got it to where all the precipitation runs off, but it's saturated now. It's just too much. So, this is another Mexican sunflower that actually did make it. So that's cool. And some bamboo. All my bananas came back. It looked hopeless initially, but we have ice cream and we have namois. So I haven't seen flags yet, but I am expecting bananas fairly soon. All my pawpaws died, but any rotted fruit left seeds, and all the seeds popped up tons of seedlings around. All right, hopefully I'm reconnected. What I was gonna say, if you're in the Houston area and you're somewhere near South Houston, I can hook you guys up with some seedlings. Call it like $5 or $10 a pop if you're interested. Just throw something down in the comments. But yeah, I'll stay away from that far side of the yard. I guess my Wi-Fi drops out. And so yeah, you can see from afar the bananas. This persimmon, it's a native persimmon, is doing really well now. Could almost use a trim already. My white sapote, I'm still waiting on it. In the meantime, I used which isn't doing great either. One of the seedlings from its fruit I put right next to it in case this doesn't come back. And the root does rock a little bit. It's somewhat questionable. It's definitely been compromised, but I still have some hope for it. So some of these things have just literally sprouted back up. So still crossing my fingers on that. But I can always graft this donor on here if it does come back. I just have it kind of here, you know. And lots of peppers. Lots of peppers. I forget what this, it might be some type of a, it's not a bell pepper, but I forget which one this is, but I do have a lot of poblanos. And this is Pisang Kalang. I intend on planting here to replace the one I did lose. It was just too small for that winter. Got a lot of damage and got infested with ants and termites, so I replanted one of its seedlings. That's why it's good to know how to clone, guys. Yucca, one of these put off a bunch of little pups, so I've replanted pups. That was a native palm that's since bit the dust. This was just a cool cactus I overwintered that had really nice fruit that I saw somewhere, and I replanted it. Pomegranate coming back. Let's see. Yeah, the what is this? Yeah, this is shampoo ginger back here. Let's see. And yeah, this vine has completely taken over. It's some kind of a, it's a melon I got at an Asian market. I forget what kind it's called. It's kind of spiky yellow. But I have like Moringa popping back up within that. It'll help it trellis. I've planted some Mexican sunflower, so all this stuff can trellis off of here. There's actually blueberries within here, so I need to cut some of this back for them. And yeah, this one's struggling here. I just gave it some acidifier last night too. So yeah, I'm gonna need to let that breathe. It's about killing my blueberries. Let's see. These are more bananas. Okinawan, or I'm sorry, Orinoco. And within here, some more peppers, some eggplants. My Moringa came back over here. This was huge. And then my goat started messing with it. So it was, you know, about 9 feet, 10 feet tall. My goat broke it back, so I have a guard up here so he can't do that anymore. And I have some wild grapes growing through here. Just gonna let them do their thing, see what comes about. Let's see. Yeah, we'll make our way towards back. This is Che. It has all sorts of yard-long beans growing up it. Cucumbers still hanging on, still being productive, lots of flowers and stuff. Yeah, I had just like lots of corn and stuff growing within here. Some of the beans and all that is calling it quits for this summer, but yeah, still getting some cucumbers. Pomegranate looks it's been getting a little too much moisture. It was doing really well. Also, this saturated manure, I usually clean it out once a week, but when it's so saturated like this, I can't do much with it. And so some of that is leaching over, and some plants love it and some plants don't love it, and pomegranate's not loving it. Some lemongrass around the pond. This is my red Ruby Guava coming back from a stump. And actually, I just dug up a seedling from the fruit that was over there, and I potted it the other day. Figs, I've been getting figs like crazy. You guys wanted to let me know the variety of this. I'm actually gonna eat this right now. But yeah, I thought it was turkey initially. Maybe it was mislabeled. But let me know in the comments if you know exactly what cultivar this is, because it's been lost in translation somewhere along the way. Yeah, figs have been awesome. I think this is volunteer amaranth. So I'm just kind of letting that go. I haven't used the kiln in a while. My bees are out of commission for the time being. It's too late to catch a swarm in the season. So I harvested a lot of honey. That's cool. But I will need to get back on the bee game. Lots of tomatoes and peppers in this bed. Some cayennes I need to harvest, which I actually like to let them dry out usually on there, but the more you harvest, the more you get. So another fig, I believe that's Celeste. My tropic snow peach, I just recorded a video on this, but it broke out of dormancy during the freeze and it's suffering a lot of damage. So on its shoots, I've since grafted the snow peach back on here. It's only been a few days, so usually you want to do this when they're dormant. So fingers crossed, we'll see how this works. Also, you want to use hardwood. This is like barely hardwood, somewhere in between. So it's kind of experimental, but we'll see what it does. But yeah, I'm going to take this out eventually and use those rootstocks. Jujube. Lots of flowers and some fruit set. I had one in the front too. On the rootstock shoots I let come up because their fruit's not too bad. No fruit set yet on the actual live jujube. I actually mulched with sugarcane when a lot of it died and some of it's come back in odd places. But I'm actually going to use that for shading. Let's go across here. This is another ice cream banana. And you have some volunteer tomatoes. This was my peanut butter fruit. Before all this rain and saturation, it sprouted back. And then you can see the remnants, but it actually had a sprout, had some roots, and I've repotted that safely inside, away from all this saturation. If I rock it back, there's still a lot of root that's strong in there and not rotted away, so still hoping that might come back again, but I do have backup rooting. I put another ice cream banana seedling over here because I wasn't sure if my other one would make it, which it since has. I'll show you in a minute. It's a sapodilla seedling. I just popped in there next to some katuk. And that's that sugarcane. I'm letting these volunteer sunflowers all spring up. Some of them are falling over, calling it quits, but they've been bringing the pollinators. Koi pond's got some cattails and stuff. This is my pear tree. I believe it's Asian pear, and I grafted something else on there, but it's doing all right. I'm just now seeing some of the new growth has aphids that are getting attacked by fire ants, so I'll just let the fire ants take care of them for now. I believe this is Soursop Seedling that I overwintered and I put in the ground. And this was a loquat that had all kinds of damage, so I cut it way back. Jaboticaba I put in here. We'll see how it does. It does not like transplant, but it's coming back all right. No new growth, but it's hanging on well. And I'll try to move quick because my phone's running a little low here. This is a black sapote seedling. This was the black sapote I had in the ground. It might, there's where I broke off. It might still come back though. The roots are still hanging on. And I'm just keeping this here as a reminder to check for growth. Persimmon, no fruit this year, but it's doing fine. So I have a poncho avocado that I replaced one of my others with. I had to give it some shade, but it's doing really well after I gave it some shade. Nice new growth on it. Some comfrey. So this was the star fruit that I thought died, and it came back. It's coming back. So what I did was I just planted next to them. So, you know, it'll be kind of like having two stems type thing, you know, they're in close proximity, they should be okay. And so this is, I think this is a seedling that I did and overwintered, so you know, see which variety's better. When I talked to you guys about papaya, this is what I meant. So when the seedlings were small, I dug up. All right. So I may have to keep my distance from, I guess I'm on the perimeter of where the Wi-Fi goes out. But with here, I lost the chaya, but I overwintered. It's clean, and I've replanted it over there. Just good for beneficials. Lots of butterflies like that and stuff. Some peanuts over there. Another avocado. I believe that was, let me see. Yeah, that's a fantastic, which should be cold hardy. I have Barbados cherry that was over there. It hasn't come back yet, may still, but I would have had it and got another one yesterday. Another loquat back there. Some more papaya. See, this is what I mean. They're all over the place, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's probably a spot I want the papaya. Some of these others, I don't know. But sugarcane's coming back. Here's the ice cream banana coming back from the dead. This thing was like 18 feet tall and froze to about the ground, but that's still cool. 13 degrees, tropical plant coming back. Pond, I should probably weed out a little bit. I usually use this as biomass. Some of the overgrown stuff. But I think that might be about it, guys. I think I forgot to point out the turmeric back here. That's about it. So as you can see, as you guys keep up with my videos, you can do a comparison and see that a lot of this stuff came back. If you're still in a position where you have frost damage and you're wondering if things will return, just leave them alone, because it's been quite a few months. It's been almost 5 months and things are just now starting to come back. So I think I'm going to wrap things up for now. For those of you who tuned in and kept along, I appreciate it. I'm pretty sure, let me see if there's anything in chat. Yeah, no one seems to have any questions or anything, so you guys feel free to put those in the comments later if you want, and I'll get to them when I can. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video, so appreciate you guys tuning in. All right.